All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope you've had an amazing day. I want to just take a second to briefly recap what's going on tonight. So right now we have skills training starting where we get to hear from my friend Diamond Leader, who's inching up on Crown. Her name is Megan Burns, and she's one of my favorite people. She's an Enneagram 1. So any Enneagram 1s in the room are going to vibe with her and her. Okay, I see Robin with thumbs ups. That's exciting. I can't see all your screens. I'm sure there are more that are like, yay, we need some one energy in here. And then at 8:15 Central, so in 45 minutes from now, we'll be doing the oils for menopause, which is going to be really exciting. I'm excited to learn a lot in that class, and I've already seen a few sneak peeks, so we're up for a really good night. But I just wanted to take a second and acknowledge every single one of you for hopping on tonight and just encourage you to give yourself a big hug, because this is one of the busiest times of the year for people getting back into routine, getting back into, if you have school age children, it can be a challenge. And, on top of that, you have things that are going on in your life that are not by your choice, like things that are happening to you, or if I can change the rhetoric, for you. And I know for me, today has been a really rough day. I'm okay, but I got a diagnosis that was just really unexpected and frustrating and overwhelming. And it's related to the pregnancy. Everything's going to be okay, but it's just some complications. And I'm annoyed. And if I can be honest with you, I just have this temptation to slip into like victim mode, like, but I did everything right, and why me, and all those kinds of things. But let me tell you what, I stumbled across my own mother's Instagram, and she shared a quote that is going to make me cry. It says something like, our challenges lead us to our community. And I just want to encourage you, whatever you're going through tonight, and I believe this for myself too, and I claim this for myself, whatever we're going through is an opportunity that when we figure it out, because we've been given some really great tools to figure it out, we're going to help people. And that is a really great gift. And so claim it. Yeah, April, claim it. I'm reaching out and claiming it too. And I'm just grateful. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Megan. Megan, I wish I had more stats for you. I should have asked that ahead of time, but I do know a few things. She's a homeschool mom. She's been homeschooling for 3 years. I believe she's an adoptive mom. She's got, like 5 kids or something. Megan, you have to chime in. Tell us a little bit about your journey. I'm just going to mute myself and let you talk, because I don't know much about your stats, but I do know you're an amazing person. I'm so grateful that you're here tonight. So thank you, friend.
I am so excited. Welcome to, so we just moved. So I probably have like paint in my hair. Like, this is my bedroom floor without things hung yet. So hi. I am so excited to chat with you guys tonight. So I'm a homeschooling mom. That is a new thing. I never, ever, 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 ever thought that I would homeschool. But man, we got to the point where we had freedom with our work, and we were like, we want freedom in all the things. And so we really wanted to travel more. And I thought that it would be one of those things where it's like the end is, it's worth it. Like the not loving the thing is worth being able to travel and not have to schedule around school and all of that. But we love it. And so we're 3 years in. We have 5 kids. My youngest is 5, about to be 6, and my oldest is 13. And we've been doing this thing called Young Living for about just over 6 years. And we're Diamond. We're right along with you guys, just trucking towards Crown and Royal. But I am going to dive in because I know that I want to respect your time, and you are all super busy and all those things. But we're going to talk about mindset. I love that you guys do this, and you're so consistent and so intentional about talking about skills, because one of my favorite things about this business is that that's literally what it is learning skills and getting better at certain things and really working in your strengths. And I know Bethany talks about that a lot. And skills can be learned, right? Like we can get better at skills. Skills can be learned, and mindset is one of those things, you guys. And I came into this business with like believing, I knew that growing myself was important. I knew that kind of stuff, but I thought that like personal development was lame because here's my caveat, because not that it wouldn't help me, but because it didn't grow my paycheck. Like I looked at it as a what, like why would I spend, if I only have this many minutes to spend on my business, why in the world would I spend it reading a book when I could be trying to enroll somebody? That was my mindset coming into this. And so and because we were in a really hard financial place. So it took me hitting like a huge obstacle, feeling so stuck. And that was when we were silver. We had just flipped to gold. And I was like, I can't grow. Like it felt like we literally just slammed into a wall and numbers weren't moving. And I was doing all the things. I was enrolling people. I was talking to them about essential rewards. I was doing all of that, but nothing was moving. And it took me going through that season to be willing to set aside my pride, which I don't think that anyone would have been like, man, Megan is such a prideful person. But it literally was my pride that was holding me back from being willing to realize that it was me that needed to grow, because I was checking the boxes. And maybe you feel like that you're checking the boxes and teaching the classes and enrolling the people, but you just can't like get that momentum that you want, or maybe you've had before. And personal growth was the thing. Like I needed to grow. I needed to work on skills and get better in certain areas so that I was able to grow my business and lead a team. So mindset is one of those things. And I'm like, my team laughs at me because I talk about mindset so much. But here is the thing, is that even right now, as a diamond working towards crown, I, in the last few months, have really struggled with mindset. As somebody who would be dubbed like, oh, you're like the mindset queen, right? No, I realized that, oh my gosh, I was so stuck in, this is the Ed Milet quote that I'm going to talk about, because this is what I was doing. His quote says, stop imagining scenarios that don't favor you. Stop imagining scenarios that don't favor you. And then when I read that, I was like, that is what I'm doing, because all I'm thinking about are the things that what could go wrong? What am I not doing well enough? How can I grow in this thing? Where am I missing the boat? Enneagram ones, hi, we're so hard on ourselves. And I know that a lot of us do that. Regardless of personality, we're so hard on ourselves because we feel like we're never doing enough. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough in that. I'm too much in this. I'm not doing enough of this. I don't know enough people. I don't have enough people on my team. I don't, whatever it is, but we keep thinking that we're not enough. We think about, what if that person gets off of VR? What if that person thinks I'm crazy for talking about this business? What if that person doesn't sign up at my class? What if nobody comes to class? Like all of this stuff, it's like we just spin out of control thinking about the things that don't favor us. What if all of that energy, all of that focus, all of even just like, I like feel a little stressed just naming off all those things right now, right? Like all of the energy that we are pouring into worrying about the things that could go wrong or would not favor us. What if we what if we stopped that and we shifted to things that do? What if, like, because that's the whole thing. And I know, I'm confident that you guys have talked about this before or heard somebody say this. But when you think about the worst thing that could happen, you have a no-show class and like somebody thinks you're crazy for doing this business. And like, what is the thing that you're so afraid of? And it's usually fear or pride, which I personally think is like one and the same. I think that fear and pride often show up in our lives in the same way, because a lot of the time they are interconnected, in my opinion. And so what if, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? So somebody sees you fail, right? Or you feel uncomfortable, or you feel not accepted by somebody, but you can still move forward, right? Like nothing happens that will stop you unless you let it. And so I loved that quote from him because I realized that, man, this year is not the best. Like there's been like curveball after curveball after curveball. I just shared something on Instagram that in my Instagram stories that made me laugh so hard because it was, one of those funny memes. And I feel like if you cannot laugh right now, we're all going to lose our sanity. But it was like 2020 is like the blind date that you show up to and you realize it's your cousin. Like that's like 2020. You're like, well, let's just try again. Like it's fine. Made me laugh so hard. But right, this year is hard, especially right now. If you have kids and you're figuring out school and you're doing all the things, if you are a teacher, if you are just working, if you've been furloughed, whatever, there's a million different dynamics and curveballs that have been thrown at us. So what are the things that we can control? How we show up, right? Like actually showing up for our business, actually showing up. I love that Bethany talks about stuff like use your oils, take your supplements, drink your water, right? Like how do we show up in our everyday life? And then the second thing that we can control is mindset, our mindset and our attitude. That's literally it. Like there's a whole list of things that we cannot control. And 2020 has been like the picture perfect example of those things that we can't control. And the things that we can are those, how we show up and our mindset. And so if that's it, like if that's all that I can control, then I'm going to like hone my skills in those things to get as dialed in as possible and as strong as possible in those areas, because then I can let go of the rest. Like then I can know that I'm showing up and doing the things that I can to keep moving forward and growing my business and whatever, like that obviously applies to things like your relationships, your health, like all the things, but obviously we're talking about Young Living. So how do we get so good at that? Is this, you practice. Like you will not, one of my best mindset books, if you are just getting into personal development, if you are trying to figure out, man, like how do I really get good at this, or how do I even take the first step? I love the book called The Energy Bus by John Gordon. And I will tell you this, I thought it was totally lame for like the first 2 chapters because how he writes is it's a story within a story. So he's telling you these lessons while he is telling you a story. Like it reads like a novel basically. And I was like, what is this? Like just crazy. Like I thought that it was just silly. And then it like slaps you up in the head because he teaches you so many really important things about what we can control and positivity. And one of the things that I love so much about John Gordon, he is one of my like mindset guru authors. Like you could read any of his books or listen on Audible and they're really good and they're short and easy reads. But he says that positivity doesn't come naturally to him. And you would think, what? Like when I heard him say that, I was like, there's no way. You literally write about mindset. You have dozens of books. You talk about it all the time. And when I read that, I was like, gosh, I trust him more now because I know that he has had to practice it and still to this day practice it. That's what it is. We don't ever arrive with mindset, right? We don't ever like wake up in the morning and have nothing to worry about and no obstacles that we have to overcome and no hiccups and any of that. Sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes stuff gets in our head and all we can do is try again tomorrow, is recognize the gift that we have and the fact that we have tomorrow is a fresh start, a clean slate, and we get to try again. And so I think that a lot of us just have to let ourselves off the hook, to be completely honest, because I think that we have a really high expectation of ourselves and our capacity and how we show up and all of these things that we wish we would have been further along. We thought we would be here. We thought it would look like this. And 2020 is giving us the opportunity to really learn what we can control and what we need to release. And so I think that a lot of us need to let ourselves off the hook a little bit and realize that we have a lot of stuff that we are overcoming this year. And we keep getting to strengthen this muscle of mindset. We keep getting to control the controllables, like I call them, totally made up word, but like control the things that we can and release the rest, because otherwise we're never going to be set up for a marathon, right? We're never going to set ourselves up to finish this race or to get to the place where we want to be in this business, because we will either quit because it's too overwhelming, or when we get there, we're going to fall apart because we're exhausted and like we've been clawing to make it happen, versus getting to where we want to be and being the strongest, healthiest, happiest person that we could be. And that's what I want for you guys. I want you guys to hit silver, gold, platinum, diamond, RCD, and get there and feel like you're in the best season of your life, because I want you to be able to live that freedom, because that's what matters to me. Like I will tell you how to make money all day long. Like I will tell you to set your goals. Like those things literally fuel me. Like I love that stuff. But what I want is for you to get there and to be able to live your life. I don't want you to get there and be like, what happened the last 5 years when I've been doing this? Or what happened the last 6 months when I've been pushing? I want you to be in a place where you are owning the things that you need to own, and you have this intense ownership. My friend Leslie calls it extreme ownership of your business, where you show up like it depends on you and you alone, but you know that that can't possibly happen, right? That the only way that you get to where you want to go is by like bringing a ton of people with you. Because when you cross that stage as Diamond, you want people screaming and cheering and bawling their eyes out, right? Like that is my thing, is when I walk that stage as Crown Diamond, I want a whole bunch of my people with me walking as Diamond. Like that's what I want every time. I want people like chasing me right up with us, like we're doing this together. And that's like community and mindset and gratitude and positivity. That whole thing goes hand in hand. So I want to challenge you guys on a couple of things. I want you, this is one of my favorite like things to do, exercises to do in this business, especially when you are in a harder season, which all of us, like I assume all of us are feeling one way or another, like we have some obstacles to overcome. And I think I'm a big fan, which I think this goes with mindset too, is personal reflection. I think it's really important to check in with ourselves. I say it to my kids, but also to my team. I'm like, we need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Okay. Like we need to make sure that we check in and we're like, what is working? What is not? What am I so hyper focused on that I need to let go? All of that kind of stuff. And personal reflection, in at least in different seasons, but especially when it's hard, is a really powerful tool. And so if you are feeling like you're in a hard space, like you're a little bit stuck, I want you to make 2 lists. And one of those lists is going to be all of the reasons that you can't, like all of the reasons that things in life are coming up against you, that you have no time, you don't have enough money, you feel like you're just super spread too thin, you have a million things on your plate, whatever it is, like all those things, all your worries, all your, like just literally write it or type it or whatever you need to do. I'm a fan of writing it down. But all those things that you've been thinking about and the scenarios that you're worried about and all of this stuff, like you just get it out on a piece of paper, all the things that don't favor you. And they can be true. They don't even have to be lies. Like for me, a lot of times, especially when I got started, my list when I got started looked like I have 4 kids. They're all really little. We have no money. I'm already working 2 jobs. Like it can be stuff that is true. Doesn't even mean that it's excuses. Some of it probably will be if you're like, I'm really nervous or I'm really concerned about what that person thinks of me, when really we know that person's probably not even thinking about us, right? But we do that in our heads. So it can be true stuff. It can be stuff that you're worried about. It can be stuff, whatever, all of that stuff. You just get it out. Second list, reasons why you can. Like reasons why you can do this. I literally got goosebumps just saying that, because this is the thing that keeps you in this. This is the reason why you do this. There are no right or wrong answers, but it is the things that are worth fighting for. That is your list number 2. And that list, you guys, should make you emotional. Like that list, if you are really honest with yourself, there's no right or wrong answer, but you have to care about it. You have to, like, when you read through the things or when you're writing down the things, you have to feel so emotionally tethered to the stuff that is on that list that it, like, the emotions bubble up in you, whether it is you want to be debt free, you want to fund an adoption, you want to start a business like a brick and mortar, you want to start a nonprofit, you want to be able to retire your parents, you want, like, whatever, you want to pay cash for Christmas gifts, you want to go to Disney World, whatever. But that stuff goes on there. And it can be anything, but you have to care about it. Like, you have to really, really want it to happen. And the thing that I encourage you to do is you can do it at the end or you can do it while you're writing it out. But I want you to imagine your life as though it has happened, because that's when I get really emotional. It's when I'm like, oh my gosh, like when I get to write a check to pay for a car for a single mom who needs a car, or I get to send a family who just needs a vacation to Disney World, or I get to help fund an adoption, or I get to, like, I literally imagine myself doing those things and I want to bawl my eyes out because I can't wait for it to happen, right? Like, I can't, like, I literally am like, oh my gosh, I will work my tail off every day so that I get to do that one day. So I get to experience the emotions that come along with me being able to give that way and rally around some people. And I'm willing to show up because, well, and here's the thing, the reason why we have to be so emotionally tethered to those things is so that we continue to show up, which is one of the things that we can control, right? One of two things. That's it. We get to show up. We get to show up in our life. We get to show up in our relationships. We get to show up in our business and our mindset, right? Like, these things are all interconnected. It is not like these separate facets of our life. It's that we have to get right in our head and have to have a reason. Because if I don't care enough, and that second list, it will change in seasons. Like, when we started, all I wanted, you guys, was my oils paid for, because I had nowhere in my budget to take from. I had already done all of that. Like, I did that for groceries, right? So I had nowhere to pull from. I needed to bring in a check so I could buy products. That was it. That was my, like, big dream, was to get my products paid for. So when that happened, I got to dream a little bit bigger. And then when that happened, I got to dream a little bit bigger. And so your second list will shift and change over time. And that's good, right? There's some things on there that will probably stay consistent, but there's some things that will shift and change depending on what season you're in. And so that's why it's so helpful to do this often, or at least regularly, because things will change. And it's okay if some of them seem small, because it is those seemingly small goals that are the things that change lives. Because if I came into this and I was like, we're going to be debt free and have 17 houses, then I'm going to give vacations to all of my friends, you'd be like, what? That's crazy. But if I'm like, you guys, I got my oils paid for, then I got to get my 300 PV order paid for, then I got to pay, like, for gas in my car, then I got to quit one of my 2 jobs so that I could actually see my family. Then, right, like, it was baby step by baby step by baby step. And you know what happens as you start to cross off your goals? You gain confidence in yourself. You show up a little bit differently. You get a little bit more grit and determination because you see that it is happening for you. And I think that one of the things with mindset too is that, like, it just comes back to that quote of stop imagining scenarios that don't favor you, right? Like, just stop. What if we actually stopped doing that? I literally feel like everything would change for most of us. And I'm in that too. Like, this is something I'm working on currently, is I feel like everything would change for me. My perspective, positivity would happen more naturally for me. I would have way more gratitude naturally, instead of thinking about all the things I can do better or all the ways I'm falling short. I wouldn't be putting any time and energy into that, because where we pour our attention and our energy, that grows, right? Like, that grows. And so if we are constantly thinking about things that don't favor us, what do you think happens? Those things, or at the very least, our attention goes there. And so we're anxious all the time. We're worried all the time. And that doesn't serve us at all. So what if we stopped imagining scenarios that don't favor us? How would it change you? Would it feel like a weight was lifted? Would it like pump you up to just be excited to focus on the things that you want in your life instead of focusing on the things that you don't? I feel like I'm obviously excited about this and working about like doing this with you, but when I read that, it felt like a slap upside the head where sometimes you need that, right? It's like little whispers for a while. Then you're like, gosh, I keep seeing this thing on social media all the time, the same messages. And then you finally read something and you're like, okay, I understand. This is what I need to work on. But I hope that you guys will do that. I hope that you will focus on the things that you can and own those things, because let yourself off the hook for the rest of it. Like, you can't control so many things, and it's not appropriate for us to take those things on when they're things that we can't control, right? Like, let go of the things that are not our responsibility and take extreme ownership over the things that are, which are how we show up and our mindset. So read John Gordon books if you have not. Like, Ed Milet is one of my favorite people. He has a fantastic podcast too. If you like those little, kick in the pants type of quotes like I do. But I'm just cheering you guys on so very much. I hope that you will keep going and keep working on yourself. And I'm so grateful for Bethany, and she spoke to my team and was fantastic. You guys are in incredible hands with your team, and I'm just cheering you guys on from afar.
Oh my gosh, Megan, that was amazing. I am just like over here going, this was for me. This was so for me. Like, the two, like, how I show up and my mindset is literally 100% in my control, and that feels so empowering. So thank you so much. Okay, I have a question, Megan, if you don't mind. If you have a second one.
Yeah, you're
okay.
Good.
What would you say is your most basic advice to an Enneagram 1 starting their business today?
You're not going to like this advice, Enneagram 1s. But done is better than perfect. Doesn't that just hurt a little bit as an Enneagram 1? Because we just want to make everything perfect and be super prepared and have 17 lists for our lists. But guess what? You're never going to get it perfect, and you're already enough, and you are more than capable. So just get to work and help people, because that's what you actually want to do, right? You want to make an impact and you want to help people. So just do it. You can't screw it up.
Oh, I love that. I feel like that just needs to be framed. But like, even the way you ended it, and just like, that was amazing. All right, you guys, I'll see you back here in this exact Zoom link in 15 minutes for Oils for Menopause. If you wouldn't mind, as you're hopping off, unmute yourself, thank Megan, and give her a whoop whoop or a thank you, and we'll see you back here.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. That was great. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.